Hey there, quirky folks! I am your host, Anna, and today we're going to look into the history and powers of Galadriel. Her story is quite confusing, as Tolkien sort of went back and forth on her entire narrative. So people often get confused upon what's canon and what isn't. But here's your basic guide into Galadriel. She is the princess of the Noldoran elves and the granddaughter of the mighty Finwë, who was the first king of Noldor. And she's the daughter of Finarfin and Erwin. Galadriel was born in Valinor, which is the realm of the Valar in Aman, during the years of the trees before the First Age. In fact, she actually beheld the two trees, and the light of those trees stayed in her hair. That's why she looked like she was glowing all the time. It was quite fitting, as her name actually means the Lady of Light. She was also the tallest of elf women, standing at around 6 feet 4 inches. Living on for thousands of years, Galadriel grew insanely powerful over time. We've already seen her through the Third Age in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy. Now through the Ring of Power series, we are witnessing her history be told right from the beginning. And then it jumps to the Second Age, where Galadriel leaves to search for Sauron. According to the Silmarillion book, she eagerly participated as the leader in rebellion of Noldor before the First Age. She wished to see Middle-earth and wanted to rule a realm of her own. Then came the First Age, where she moved to Beleriand and met her future husband, Celeborn. Surviving the calamities of war in Beleriand, they moved towards east and established the realm of Eregion, aka Hollin. They ruled over a group of elves over here under the High King of the Noldor, Gil-galad. Celeborn and Galadriel had a girl during this time, and she was called Celebrian. And they also made contact with an Andorian settlement in the Valley of the Anduin, which later came to be known as Lothlorien. Eventually, Celeborn and Galadriel became the Lord and Lady of Lothlorien. When the Rings of Power were forged, Galadriel suggested that they should be hidden. So then, she was entrusted with one of the 3 rings called Nenya, which was the Ring of Water. Although she didn't use this ring, else it would have alerted Sauron, who had the One Ring at that time. But during the Third Age, when the One Ring was lost, she effectively used Nenya to protect the borders of her realm and make it extremely beautiful.
This is Nenya, the Ring of Adam, and I am its keeper.
Then in this period, her daughter Celebrian had 3 children, Eladan, Elrohir, and Erwin. Eventually, she gave shelter to the Fellowship of the Ring, which included Frodo and his team of a dwarf, 2 men, the wizard Gandalf, Legolas, the elf, and the other hobbits. Frodo offered her to have the One Ring, and even though she was tempted to take it, she ultimately denied it to keep the realm safe.
I passed the test. I will diminish.
Her selfless nature is one of the reasons why she grew so powerful. So without any further ado, let's look at the powers of Galadriel. It has been said that she was the greatest of Noldor after Fëanor, as she possessed a tremendous number of magical powers. During her time in the Undying Lands, she learned from Yavanna and Aule, and became a friend of Melian and Maia. She was also able to grasp all of their magical abilities as well. Having Nenya in her possession, she grew even more powerful as the ring was the source of most of her abilities. Nenya allowed her to protect, preserve, and conceal her realm from evil. She has been depicted as someone who can communicate over vast distances. She can predict the future. And most importantly, she can fortify her mind so well that no powerful beings, not even Sauron, could perceive her mind. If you think about it, Sauron's main ability is to corrupt other people's minds, and he had no effect on Galadriel. Although, she can see into the minds of others, and it was implied that she also looked into Frodo's mind. We've also seen how she possessed the skill of Asandwe, which is the ability to communicate with others through thoughts.
Show me.
So, the intention.
She spoke mentally with the likes of Elrond and Gandalf when they returned from Minas Tirith after the One Ring was destroyed. Her formidable powers would allow her to extinguish the foundations of Dol Guldur. For those who are not aware, Dol Guldur was a fortress whose power was multiplied by Sauron's magic. So, she and the White Council brought the walls of Dol Guldur down and cleansed the forest. And she even fended off the necromancer, who turned out to be Sauron himself. Her character is such a mystery even in the books, because beings like the immensely skillful Saruman and the very perceptive elf Elrond were not able to understand the full extent or nature of her powers. Along with all of her powers, if she also possesses the One Ring, she could easily take on Sauron all by herself. But have you ever stopped and thought about why Galadriel is so powerful? Well, here's why. First of all, she has lived for a long time in a world that's full of magic. She was eager to learn. And guess what? She learned directly from the Valar themselves. Tolkien wrote the Valar to be kind of the gods of the Middle-earth, and during this time, these gods were heavily involved in what happened around the world. They used to guide and mentor the elves personally. So, when Galadriel learned from them, she actually grasped the knowledge of creation itself. She learned how to imbue objects with magic. So, the extent of her powers just kept on expanding to the point that she even surpassed the members of the Valar. She had a rebellious nature in the beginning, but as she grew older, her wisdom grew tenfold. And we may have seen this through many instances. First, she suggested to Celebrimbor to hide the 3 rings. She also didn't use Nenya until Sauron had lost the 1 ring. And when Frodo offered her the 1 ring, she was able to fight through the temptation of its powers. She knew that even though her intentions would be good to begin with, the infinite power that the ring would offer would ultimately corrupt her and turn her into a tyrant just like Sauron. She understood that nobody should possess that much power, not even herself. The fact that she was so noble, wise, and selfless is what allowed her to sustain her power for such a long time. People around her knew that she deserved all of her abilities because she always used them for good. And that can be seen with what she did using Nenya, as she chose to protect her realm and her people. It has also been said that some of her powers were also enhanced by her infamous mirror. So that's one more reason why she has been so strong over time. Okay, so that was your basic guide to who was Galadriel and why she was a person that everyone rooted for. Hit the like and the subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. Goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.